Oh, you got her, dude. She's down.
Let's go.
Dude, I just shot a deer of a lifetime.
Freaking smoked him.
One with nature, and if you're a believer, one with God.
Definitely gets your heart pumping. Boy, you are in trouble.
Fall Obsession Podcast.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to another Fall Obsession Podcast episode. Happy to have you guys join us again for another one of our Monday episodes. I am Sam with Fall Obsession, your Fall Obsession Podcast host. Once again, leading you guys into another week's podcast. Hope you guys have enjoyed some of the content that we've had here recently, talking with some hunters about some stuff that they're doing for their fall prep. And then last week, you had me and Drew talking with each other over some Montana pronghorn hunting. So really cool episode there if you guys want to go check that out. This week, Drew is back with me again for another week's episode. What's up, Drew? How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. And we have a third individual on the line with us this week. He's from Adaptive Pursuits TV and the North American Association of Blind Sportsmen, Mr. Lance Mathena. Lance, welcome to Fall Obsession Podcast, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
We're happy to have you on, man. Looking forward to this discussion. I know we're gonna unfold and unpack a lot here in our talk with you today. I'm excited for it. But before we get into it, real quick shout out to our friends over at Elite Archery and Larry McCoy over there. Really good line of equipment that those guys have put out with their 2021 Elite bows. I'm a huge fan of the Remedy, and I know Drew is eyeing that Encore pretty hard. So we're both impressed with our Elite Cures from last year. So if you guys haven't gone to your local archery dealer and shot an Elite bow yet, I encourage you guys to go do that. We have been shooting them for a few seasons now and continue to be impressed by their equipment. So go take the Elite Shootability Challenge, compare it to any other bow out there, and see if it fits you. Elite just wants to be in the conversation, so go check them out. So Lance, once again, appreciate you coming on with us this week and joining us. And I'm going to I know Drew is kind of going to be taking a little bit more of the lead on this podcast with some of the topics that we're going to bring in discussion. And so I'm going to kind of let him guide us through the rest of this conversation. But to kick us off, if you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about yourself and your organization and what you guys do.
Okay, great. Folks, my name is Lance Mathena. I'm from the North American Association of Blind Sportsmen, and I'm also the host of Adaptive Pursuits TV on the Sportsmen channel. The North American Association of Blind Sportsmen is an organization I created about 4 years ago that works exclusively with blind folks and vision impaired folks around the country in an attempt to get them up off the couch and living their lives again. And how we do that is by challenging them to go out on hunting and fishing adventures that they might never dare on their own, as a way of building confidence, friendships, community, and most importantly, we try to build hope out there for the future. What we do is we go out and talk with different people around the country, different outfitters, different guide services, things like that. And we arrange hunts with them to take our members out and have what we like to think of as the dream hunt of a lifetime. Now, the individual hunts that we go on might not be everybody's dream hunt, but I'll tell you what, if you are a blind or vision impaired person and you have come into a situation where you don't think you're ever going to be able to do it again, or your blindness has taken over to a point where you can't pull the trigger or shoot your bow or something like that, any opportunity to get out and be just a regular guy again, a regular person, and pursue your passions in the woods is a dream hunt. And so we try to provide those hunts for folks, and we have a great time doing it.
That is awesome. That's a very unique thing that you guys are doing for folks who, as you said yourself, might not have the opportunity to do anything like that themselves. So that's really cool.
Right on. Thanks.
So, Lance, you had mentioned that these are sort of once in a lifetime hunts for these guys. Can
Can you kind of tell us about some of your memorable hunts that you've had, or some of the individuals that you've worked with in the past, and sort of why that stuck out for you?
Sure. Let's start with a turkey hunt. I went on a turkey hunt 2 years ago, and it was my first turkey hunt ever. I've been blind for about 7 years now, and I had never hunted turkeys before that. When I had vision, and I went out on a turkey hunt, and these birds came in. We had called these birds in, and they came in to the right of our blind at about 4 feet to the side of it. And they're gobbling right next to us. I mean, they're just right on top of us. And you want to talk about, having your adrenaline just pumping. It's just incredible. And they walked right around the front of the blind, and from about 6 feet away, they stopped. And there was 2 birds there, and they both turned and looked right in the blind. And, we couldn't move, couldn't do anything. They had us pinned down bigger than life. Eventually, they turned and walked away a little bit. And I managed to get both of them in one shot. It wasn't planned that way, but that's the way it turned out. So my very first turkey hunt, I nailed 2 birds, and it was just an incredible thing. But to get out of the blind after these birds were down, and to appreciate these birds, I'm feeling them from head to toe, picking through their feathers and and rubbing them down, seeing all the contours of their body and everything, just trying to drink it all in. Was one of the most incredible experiences of my life. A friend of mine, Tom, we took him out mule deer hunting 2 years ago, and we got him on a really nice 3x4, and it was with a guide service in Eastern Washington. He was at about 180 yards, and we use adaptive technology to hunt these animals so that our hunters can hunt autonomously, meaning nobody's holding the rifle for them, nobody's pushing the rifle this way or that way or picking it up or laying it down. It's all on the hunter. And so Tom's laying prone at 180 yards, and he's got this rifle there, and it has a 3x4 inch scope on the end, or a 3x4 inch TV screen on the end of the scope where the reticle would normally be. And the guy just sitting to the side of him, and he's looking at the screen. And Tom's never killed a deer before in his life, and he's almost completely blind due to diabetes. Just the anticipation. He laid there for almost an hour waiting for this buck to move because the buck was bedded down. And, he knew from the guide that when the sun hit this buck, it was early in the morning, and he was just waiting. The guy was waiting for the sun to come up enough to where it'd get right on this buck. He knew that buck would get up and move when the sun hit him. Sure enough, he did. And it was just almost unreal, to listen to the guy talk Tom in and make sure that he's right on target. And then Tom harvested that buck. And I've never seen a bigger smile on a guy's face than I have on that guy right there. It's just an incredible thing. Tom, when we finally got after the buck and we were able to get a good look at him, Tom got down on his hands and knees and just, he put his hands on that buck and felt his fur, just felt every aspect of this animal's body, just burning it into his memory. And it's just an incredible thing. He'll probably never have a chance to do exactly something like that again. And I say that not because, we're only going to take him on one hunt or anything like that, but I say that because the majority of the blind population in America is unemployed, meaning that they live on Social Security disability. And that being the case, the ability to afford to go hunting or to afford the camo clothing or to afford any supplies that you need, transportation, things like that, are just beyond the abilities financially of most blind people.
Yeah. That's an incredible story that you told. I mean, just, I know what it's like to be out looking in and trying to wait for that opportunity, but to just be laying there for an hour or longer and waiting for the sun to come, that's just an incredible opportunity for anybody. Yeah, so I know you talked about it briefly during that, and you kind of covered a lot, which was great. But I know you had mentioned as far as the TV screen on the rifle, but I think you had mentioned in some of our previous discussions, which I think might be kind of interesting for our listeners, is some of the other adaptive technology that's kind of new for this year that you guys are going to be trying out.
Absolutely. We are working hand in hand with Tacticam this year, and they've stepped up for us in a big way. We're using what they call the FTS system, or what stands for from the scope, as far as I know. But it is a piece of equipment that hooks onto the reticle of your regular hunting rifle scope, and it has a Tacticam 5.0 camera attached to it. And it looks right through the scope and films right through the scope as well. And then it Bluetooths either to a cell phone or like your iPad or a laptop if you have one of those out there. And it's just an incredible piece of equipment. You know, it adds to the experience for the hunter in a big way, in that you don't have to have somebody right next to you or right behind you in order to be able to do this. The guide or the spotter can be sitting next to you somewhere in the blind or in whatever setup you're using, and can guide you that way. It's a very, very cool situation. Tacticam has come out and provided us with these great products. The gentleman's name is Rudy Nunez. He's just a fantastic guy to work with. If you ever get a chance to talk to him, he's absolutely worth listening to. He's a great guy.
That sounds like some really cool technology. Even just for some people who want to film their own hunts, being able to still use the rifle and have that streaming right to your phone or iPad or whatever it is to be able to record. That's pretty cool.
It is. It's pretty awesome. You know, I really like being able to see the video. You know, I used it to sight on my crossbow, and it's not really that's not really the optimal use of the FTS system, because you do things differently when you're sighting through a crossbow scope. But it still works fantastic. And to see the video of myself dialing in my shots and sighting in my crossbow and realizing that, okay, this is what I did in this shot. That's why this one didn't go the right direction, or that's why this one didn't hit where I wanted to, was just an incredible tool. And I'm super stoked to be working with them, and they make some terrific product for us.
That's really cool. So what kind of gun do you guys have those mounted to?
Right now we have them mounted to Ruger rifles. Ruger stepped up for us last year and gave us a pile of rifles. We're using the Ruger American in 6.5 Creedmoor, and it's just been a fantastic rifle. They come with a kind of greenish scope. Now, if I mangled it, sorry Ruger, but they come with a kind of greenish scope, and then they've got a coated barrel on them as well. They come with a kind of greenish stock on them. Sorry, that's the right word. And they're really light, very comfortable to shoot, very, very, they feel good in your hand, and they're just a terrific piece of equipment. We really, are thankful to Ruger for stepping up and helping us out with that, and to Winchester Ammunition for stepping up and helping us out on that with respect to that. When it comes to rifles, right now that's all we shoot is just the Rugers. I've been a Ruger fan most of my life. I grew up just like everybody else did with a little Ruger 1022 rimfire rifle. And when I approached Ruger and I said, "Hey, this is who we are and this is what we do," there's the common disbelief that we dealt with at the time. Everybody says, right, you're going to take blind guys out in the woods and shoot. And then I'll show them video of what we do and how we do it. And Ruger was just like, you know what? This is something that we want to be involved in. This is something that is very cool. And we said, hey, we'd love to work with you and make this thing go. And they stepped up for us in a big way.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds like it. So I guess moving on from some of the equipment, I guess unless there's any other interesting equipment that you're going to be using as far as non-typical hunting equipment? What are some of the things as far as around camp or any other special considerations that are kind of taken in?
Well, out there in the woods, we need every advantage we can get. And so we work with a company called Hex. And what Hex does is make a carbon fiber camo set for each of us that eliminates or masks our electronic signature out there. And, because the deer are sensitive to that. The animals out there in the woods are sensitive to it. And it makes a huge difference. Blind people don't generally come with camo, so one of the biggest expenses we have every year is getting them camoed up and getting boots on them and, getting all the gear for them. And Mike Slinkard at Hex has really gone out of his way to help us and provide that camo and provide us with that extra edge. In the beginning of our conversation today, I talked about having some turkeys coming into our blind, and they came within 4 feet, and then they just stood there at 6 feet right in front of the blind just looking at us. And that's because my spotter, my camera guy, and myself all had Hex camo on, and they could smell us. They knew, they had an idea that we were human, but they couldn't tell what we were for sure because we had our Hex camo on. So they just stood there and looked at us trying to figure out what we were. It made a huge difference. It really, really did. I don't think that scenario could have played out that way by any means otherwise. Hex really works. It's something that we use on every hunt, every time. And I highly recommend it to anybody out there. As far as camp goes, we are basically just regular folks, with some vision issues. We enjoy being at camp just like everybody else. One of the things we normally do though is we will tie a rope from the edge of the tent to the bathroom, whether that's a Santa can or a bathroom or whatever it is. But that way our guys can find their way to the bathroom no matter what. They just have to hit that rope, and on one of those ends is going to be the bathroom. But we have a great time in camp. Some of the best times on the hunt, in my opinion, are happen in camp. Just talking about the things we've been through, the things we're doing, and living in the moment is an amazing thing for anybody. But for these blind folks, it's just incredible.
All right. So let's move on a little bit and talk about the hunt this fall. Can you describe for our listeners sort of this vision that you have for the hunt, for what's coming up? So what's your game plan for this fall, and what are you looking forward to about this hunt that you have planned?
This fall we've got a series of hunts scheduled. We've got 6 hunts scheduled in northeastern Washington / north central Idaho, and we're working in conjunction with Fall Obsession and JRA Adventures and Hunts for Vets to make it happen. We're going out for 6 mule deer, and it's going to be just an incredible adventure. I'm really, really super looking forward to it. Most folks out there that hunt have access to white-tailed deer or Coues deer or something like that, but very, very few have access or regular access to mule deer. And so we got that together in talks with Drew Twerdick from Fall Obsession and a few other guys, and we were able to get it scheduled and make it happen this year. And I'm really pumped about it. Mule deer are my favorite deer to hunt. They are a whole different kind of hunting than whitetail hunting. You can't just put in a food plot or put a feeder and expect to be successful at mule deer hunting. You kind of have to spot and stalk or know where the deer are and kind of work your way there. And, hunt the pinch points like you would normally do with whitetails or something like that. But mule deer are just an incredible animal when it comes to finding them and identifying the right one and making it happen out there. And so we're really excited to be out there and putting this all together. And by the way, for these 6 hunts, we are bringing in blind or vision impaired folks who are veterans. And I'm really looking forward to that as well. In fact, there's still a few openings left. If anybody out there listening would like to apply for the hunt, if you are a visually impaired or blind vet, go to www.nabs.org. That's NAABS.org. And sign up as a member. It costs you $25. And at that point, you can apply for any hunt that's available out there. And there's going to be a bunch of them this year. But get signed up out there. This could be the hunt of a lifetime. What we're doing is we will be flying our hunters in from wherever they're at, and we'll be gearing them up and going on the hunt. And then after that, the hunters will be flying out back to their respective homes or origin locations. And it's going to be the adventure of a lifetime for you. It really is. You know, I can't think of a better way to spend a week of your fall than hanging out with like-minded folks and people who understand what your situation is. And everybody's on the same team. We're all out there to make it happen. It's going to be awesome. I really, really thank all of you guys at Fall Obsession, for helping to make this happen. You guys rock. And I'm super, super excited. Looking forward to being there.
So I guess for some of our listeners and the people who are hearing this story now and want to contribute, how can they get involved? How can they donate some money for the hunt? How can they provide opportunities for these sportsmen?
Okay. If you'd like to get involved as a supporter, or make a donation to help support these guys and get them out here, go to www.nabs.org/donate, and you can make a donation right there. And in the comment section, please mark it as Fall Obsession Series. It's a great way to help out someone who otherwise wouldn't be able to do these kind of things or to go on this hunt, and we'd sure appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah. I think it's definitely a great cause. And, for our listeners who maybe aren't aware of all that happens behind the scenes, Lance and I have been talking kind of behind the scenes about this project for, I don't know, at least 6 months, if not longer, about how we can help get involved and, connect with this organization, because when we heard it on our end, we just knew it was something that we needed to be involved in and, help everyone really get into the outdoors and be able to enjoy it in the same way that we are able to as, fully gifted, fully, people who are able to hunt without some of the limitations that some people are maybe maybe forced to undergo.
Drew, you could say it. It's the blind. It's the B word, blind. We're not offended by it, man. It's part of the American idiom and language. It's not offensive to us. People ask us all the time, or they kind of dance around, about, well, what, how do we say that? What do we call you? And it's like, yeah, we're blind, man. It's okay.
All right, that sounds good. So I know we're talking about hunting in both Washington and Idaho this fall. They both are going to come with sort of different challenges, different areas that we're hunting. Is there a hunt that you're looking forward to more than the other for one reason or the other, or are they just kind of different hunts and different groups of individuals?
Well, what we'll do is we've got two different sets of terrain. In Washington, it'll be a little bit flatter, more fields-like, more hay fields and things like that type area. And we'll be setting up our hunters in Washington who are a little more disabled or have a hard time with mobility. When you're dealing with blind folks, you're always dealing with more than one disability, because blindness is usually not the first thing that happens to you. Blindness is kind of like the bonus gift you get for showing up on something else. So say someone's got diabetes real bad and then they get blindness from that, or they're in an accident and there's a head injury or something like that, and blindness happens as a result of that head injury. So you've got different disabilities that you have to take into account when you're dealing with blind folks and getting them out on these hunts. So on the Washington side, it will be for our folks who are a little bit less able or a little bit less mobile than otherwise. And on the Idaho side, it's going to be a little more challenging. Up there in north central Idaho in the Rockies, it's going to be a little more straight up and down. It's going to be a lot more hiking. And it's going to be just a little bit tougher challenge for our hunters to hit the mark, so to speak, or to meet their goal as far as making this hunt successful.
Yeah, I know from personal experience, and I'm sure Sam can attest to it too, but being out west and sort of hunting out at those elevations, it can present its own challenge.
You bet. No, I am looking forward to getting back to Idaho and hunting again. I think it's going to be an incredible thing. I lived down in Idaho for 7 years and just got totally spoiled hunting up in the Central Rockies. It's just one of the most beautiful places on earth, and it's just an amazing thing to be able to go out there and hunt again. I'm super looking forward to it.
Yeah. I think everyone involved or everyone that's heard about it is really looking forward to how they can help and how they can get involved in this fall. So what requirements do you have for this hunt? What are some of your goals as far as fundraising, and what's your ultimate goal as far as being able to cover this hunt?
In order to put this hunt together and to work with these, get these guys here and get them equipped and get them all tagged up and taken care of medically and making sure we've got the right people involved, it's going to be an average of about $6,000 per hunter in order to make everything work right, and to have all of our eventualities covered. So I want to make sure that, we're able to do that. And if folks can call us up, or, you can call us up at 253-432-6369. Or you can go online to www.nabs.org/donate, and you can donate there as well. But it's going to cost an average of about $6,000 per hunter in order to make this happen.
You know what? I think that's fully reasonable. I think, having worked with outfitters in the past, that's right in the market for what people are paying for outfitters. So, for once in a lifetime experience, I think that's a great price point for those people who are getting out there. So it's something that we're looking to help you guys fundraise. So, we're encouraging our listeners to, like has been mentioned several times in this podcast, go out and find that page, make some contributions, market for the fall obsession hunt, and, let's get some of these guys out hunting. I think this is an awesome opportunity for these people, and, whatever you can contribute would really help it out.
That would be fantastic. One of the things I'm really, really excited about here is that there are no profits taken in this series of hunts at all. Everybody that's coming on is coming on, for cost, or they are volunteering their time, efforts, money, whatever it takes. There's no salaries getting paid. Nobody's making any money on this. We're out there to do the right thing for deserving people, and it's just a really, really cool experience, and we'd love to have all y'all involved with it.
What's been some of the feedback from the hunters that you've had out there? What's their response to being invited on this hunt and being selected for these hunts, and how was their response after the hunt, and what's the difference between the two?
Well, the first thing, one of my favorite things to do is to call up the hunters that are selected, that have applied for the hunts, and let them know that they have been selected, and kind of talk to them, walk them through a little bit about what's going to happen. And the first thing on their mind is always disbelief. It really is, because there's nobody out there, there's no organization out there anywhere in North America that specializes in taking blind and vision impaired people out on hunts and fisheries. And so even after they join the organization and apply for the hunt, it's still not real to them, until, we make it real to them. So I talk to them before the hunt, when they've been selected, and then I always call them, every week or two and say, hey, how you doing? This is this is where I'm at. Here's kind of a checklist of the things that you might need. How much of that do you have? And they're just, they're really appreciative and very responsive in that respect. And they're still just a little bit leery about it. They're going to fly 2,000 miles away from home with people they don't know to go chase a dream. And it doesn't get real to them until we send them the plane tickets in the mail, or we email their flight information to them or their itinerary. And then they get out there for the hunt, and they're still real apprehensive. And usually the first thing we do is we'll take them to the gun range, and we'll get out a couple boxes of shells, and we'll just go to town. We'll shoot whatever rifle or whatever weapon it is until they're completely comfortable with everything that's going on. They know it's not going to hurt them or anything like that. It's not going to leave a bruise on them. It's just a tool, and get them comfortable with the shooting system. And invariably, they come out of their shell in ways that they would never do around people that they don't know, or people who aren't like-minded or into the same kind of things that they are. And it's really, really an awesome experience to have these guys around camp, or to hang out with them while they're going through this, and to watch their growth process through through these adventures is just amazing. And after the hunt is over and everybody's gone home, I usually call them up about a week later and say, "Hey, how you doing?" And I have, over the last 3.5, 4 years of doing this, have created some of the best friends of my life just by getting a hold of these guys and bringing them out on these adventures. Because when I call them up on the phone, they're just a completely different person now. And I can't say this happens every time, but a lot of the times it does happen, to where guys will tell me, it's like, "Hey, yeah, I went out and I got this," or, "I bought this kind of stand, because I want to get out and, in my own neighborhood or my own hunting ground, and, I checked this stand out, and it's something that I can do blind. I can climb it, no problem, or I can get up the tree, no problem, or do whatever I got to do." And to hear the confidence in their voice, and to know that they're looking at things going, okay, they're not interested in the people or or how society says, "No, you really shouldn't do that," or "You really can't do that," or, "You should just stay on your couch," where, all good disabled people should be. They're out there making things happen in their lives. They're not living their life on the couch or from the couch anymore. They're out doing things in their lives, and they're different people. They're motivated, they're excited, and, they're living right now. And that's the whole goal of everything we do, is to get folks out and living their lives again. And so for them to, get a hold of me, or for me to get a hold of them, and to listen to them tell me about their plans and their dreams and all of these things that they may or may not have had before they went on a hunt, but now they're doing something about it. It's just an incredible thing. We're out there. I know it's an overused term, but we're changing lives every time we get out there in the woods, and it's an incredible experience. There's nothing better as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it sounds like you're not only offering this once in a lifetime hunt, but really offering sort of a change of lifestyle to some of these people who have, because of the blindness that they're going through, are maybe withdrawing from some of the things that they've done in the past, or things that they would try. But that this really sort of opens it up for them for future hunting opportunities as well. So not just necessarily this trip, but really that ability to continue hunting throughout their life. That's a really cool deal.
It is. I'm super pleased and very humbled to be involved in it. It's just an amazing thing as far as I'm concerned. To see the growth that happens is just a terrific thing. That's the whole thing to me, is just to see these people come out of their shell and start living their lives again. Just an amazing opportunity.
Now, this being involved in something like this has got to be just as great of an experience for, the people who are volunteering and assisting. What's been some of the feedback that you've gotten from, the guides and outfitters, but also the people who are just around camp helping?
I'll tell you about a friend of mine named Mark. He's a retired Green Beret, and he runs a fishing guide service called Twisted Waters Guide Service. But he volunteers trips for us for steelhead and salmon fishing, as well as in the off season, he goes around the country with us and helps to guide our folks. And when I talked to him about it, it's like, okay, what's in it for you? And he says, well, to me, it's a really selfish thing to get out there and do this. He says, because I get more out of it than anybody else does. I get more out of it than the hunters. He says, because I get to help these people who would never otherwise have these opportunities do something that is just incredibly cool that they've always wanted to do, or that they never ever thought they could do again. And I get to be a part of it. And he says, I've got more disabled friends than I have non-disabled friends because of the experiences that I've had with these folks. And I just have to smile at him. I'm like, yep, I totally get it. It's a lot of fun. It's like I go on to all of the hunts myself. I don't usually hunt on the hunts, but I go as kind of a camp liaison because I'm a blind person myself. But, I've only been blind for 7 years, so I understand the non-blind philosophies, and I understand how blind people think too. And, so I'm always out there, and it's a very cool thing to me to meet up with the volunteers and just to watch the interactions as they begin to realize that no matter what these guys have gone through, they're still people, and they're still soft, and they still have pliable souls. And it's just an amazing thing to watch the lights go on in the volunteers' eyes. And we haven't had a volunteer go out on any trip with us that isn't ready to go out again. It's just been, we've got a cadre of volunteers that is just miles long, and we're always looking for more. We're always looking for, great new folks to come out and help out, get involved in some way, whether that's making a donation or whether that's, donating a piece of equipment, or whether that's actually coming out to the hunt itself or the fishery itself and going along and just helping out or being there, being a friend. We've had some folks in the past who have had some panic attacks, during the trip. Like one gentleman had a panic attack bad at an airport, and I tried to talk to him, and he's like, "Yeah, I get it." But we had a volunteer that has a little training in the social sciences. And he sat down with this gentleman and was able to help get him out of his panic attack, get him back into his comfort zone. And the transformation was just huge. And you wouldn't normally think that as a sighted person traveling wouldn't provide that much panic for you or that much anxiety for you, but trying to do it blind is a whole different thing. If you're looking for a good example, next time you go to the airport, see how far you can make it through the airport with your eyes closed. That's a good example. But it's really neat to see all of the different ideas and philosophies that come along with the volunteers that come into the organization. They're all unique, all worthwhile. And they're just an amazing crew of people, or amazing type of person who volunteers. And we couldn't do what we do without them. They're just incredible people, and we're super blessed to have them involved.
So besides contributing, we've talked about how people can donate on your page. Are there other ways that outfitters or guides or anybody in the outdoor industry that's hearing the story and wants to be involved, is there a way that they can contact you as well?
Absolutely. You can reach me at Lance@nabs.org. That's NAABS.org. or you can reach me directly at 253-432-6369 or 253-722-3551. Would love to talk to you. Would love to hear your ideas. Would love to help you get involved any way that we can. There's always room for great people to get involved in this organization and get involved in these events. And I look forward to hearing from everybody out there.
Well, Lance, I think we've covered all the questions that I had about this fall's hunt. Is there anything that we haven't covered yet that you wanted to talk about today?
I can't think of anything right off the bat, Drew. The best thing that I can say is, folks, if you think you'd like to get involved or you think this is something you might like to contribute to, please do. Don't hesitate. Don't wait to pull the trigger. The opportunities go by too fast in life. Take a chance, get involved in someone else's life. The thing that you do, whether it's providing a piece of equipment or a donation or providing your time, is going to change a disabled and blind or vision impaired person's life. Don't think that what you've got to contribute is unimportant or too small. Anything that you can do to help out will be greatly appreciated, and it's going to contribute to the success of a future hunt or a future fishing trip down the road.
Yeah, I know that's how we got involved in the first place, is just one little connection on LinkedIn and a couple of messages back and forth. And before you know it, we were talking and planning for a hunt this fall. And, I'm really excited about it. And, looking forward to sort of the opportunities that we can provide for these 6 individuals. I think it's going to be a great time. For our listeners, look forward to seeing the video, because we're going to be working with Lance to create some awesome content for you guys this fall. Sam, you've been unusually quiet today. Do you have any questions for Lance before we go?
No, man, I do not. And I was just thinking about that. I think this is probably the least I have talked in any one of our podcasts up till now. But it's fitting, because as Lance pointed out, he reached out to Drew and y'all started that conversation. And while I have been involved in the planning and conversations and stuff, Lance and Drew have kind of have taken the lead on some of this. So it's definitely fitting for kind of them to steer the conversation. And there's definitely nothing else that I could have added. I've enjoyed just being here and listening to y'all talk about it. And I'm the same way. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this fall. I'm excited about this project and everything, and looking forward to having some of our guys out there on site that can help in different capacities. And also, I think one thing that we didn't touch on a whole lot and that Drew just mentioned was the video that's going to be coming from this. Lance, I know that you guys have in your mind already for how the film from this hunt is going to be produced and released. You want to share that with our listeners real quick on later on down the line, how they can, if anything, just watch and see how all this transpires?
Sure. Folks, season 2 of Adaptive Pursuits TV is going to come out in January on the Sportsmen channel. You'll have to check our website to find out what time and what day of the week. But we are calling this the Fall Obsession series, and we're going to make each one of these hunts into an episode. So 6 of the episodes next year on season 2 on the Sportsman channel on Adaptive Pursuits TV are going to feature what we're talking about today. We're going to have a great time doing it. It's going to be great family friendly viewing, and we're really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to seeing all the smiling faces.
That's awesome. Perfect. So guys, be sure, if anything else, you set your calendars and keep an eye out for those January episodes. Again, we're super excited to be involved in this capacity with Lance and these guys, and being able to not just help out in camp, but also help them with their fundraising efforts and everything like that. It's super cool to be involved in. So, But gentlemen, unless y'all have anything else, we'll head for home and cut our listeners loose. And obviously, there will be a lot more coming in the days and weeks to come with this project, and I'm sure that folks will be seeing a lot of it on our pages. So.
Right on. Thanks for the opportunity to be here, guys. Folks, remember www.nabs.org. That's naabs.org/donate in order to help us out and make a donation and get these guys out in the woods and living their lives again. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate your time. Looking forward to talking to you again.
Lance, we appreciate you coming on, guys. As Lance just said, that's where you all can go to donate and contribute to this. We will be putting stuff on our pages as well to steer people in that direction. And if you guys haven't already, hit that follow and subscribe button on whatever podcast app you are listening on. We are on all major podcast platforms. And again, we come out with a new episode every single Monday morning. So if you are also interested in maybe coming on the podcast yourself, if you got some stuff you'd like to share, or you know of a guest that we should bring on here, you can go to fallobsession.com/podcast. There's a form you can fill out to send us any kind of suggestions. You can also tell us about any topics you'd like us to cover, or just general feedback. We value that as well, so be sure you go over there and check it out. Fallobsession.com is our hub. That is our website where you can go to find all of our hunting and outdoor content, video series, educational articles, wild game recipes, and a bunch of other stuff. We have it all on there, as well as our own Fall Obsession brand apparel. And be sure that you hit us up on social media, Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Those are the pages where there's going to be a lot of frequent information coming out about this hunt that we've talked about today, coming out in the fall. So be sure that you follow us. And also, in addition to NABS, go check out Adapted Pursuits TV. I know they got a Facebook page, and I'm sure that they would appreciate the like and the follow as well. So, Lance, thank you again, sir. I appreciate you coming on.
Piece of cake, guys. Life is good.
It is. Drew, thank you again for talking with Lance and keeping me silent for this episode, I guess, for once.
Anytime. Glad to be here.
All right. Guys, thank y'all for listening. Be sure you tune in again next week for another Fall Obsession podcast episode. We will catch you then.